I am Teresa, your next-door girl, with her mother-in-law's problem. Well, my mother-in-law Margaret isn't as evil as others I have heard about. She is one greedy woman. This story is about how she thought she could steal my heirloom jewelry and justify it in the name of tradition. Don't worry, she does face some serious consequences for it. So, my husband Rhett has probably the most greedy mother I have ever known. This woman was seriously something else. Not only was she greedy, but also extremely selfish. Both Rhett and his sister Abigail have suffered under her care. She was slightly tolerable when her father was around. However, Margaret went the extra mile when he passed away. With no husband present to check her activities, Margaret started to go back to her greedy ways. Rhett told me some serious horror stories from his childhood. He said, "My mom is not the best person, Teresa. She has always been very selfish and greedy. I doubt you'll ever find someone like her." "Really, Rhett? But what did she do?" "Well, she used to steal money from me and Abigail when we worked part-time jobs in school. She said she deserved our money since we were minors. We would try hard to hide our cash, but she managed to find it every time." "Oh my God, that is horrible. Why didn't you confront her and put an end to it?" "Well, we did, but nothing came out of it. She has a huge problem with stealing things or demanding gifts from people. Do you know she even returned toys that we were gifted? She always asked for the receipts and returned our gifts. Then she used to go shopping for her things with the money." "God, Rhett, how can she be so selfish? This is ridiculous. Since your extended family steps in?" "No, she has bad blood with all of them. She did steal and acted entitled around their things, so no one contacts her anymore. Unfortunately, they wanted nothing to do with us as well. Margaret truly turned out to be a horrible person. Frankly, I never had a problem with Margaret before our wedding. She was a little aloof, but didn't treat me with disrespect. So, in my head, I ended up downplaying what Rhett told me about her. That was until the day of our wedding. On my wedding day, I wore the most beautiful white dress. Along with the dress, I also wore a diamond necklace and earring set. This was an exceptional piece and worth a lot of money. My family wasn't rich by any means. However, this had been in our family for generations and was left to me by my mom. I did learn a lot and could easily buy lots of jewelry, but this piece was sentimental to me. It was an heirloom piece that represented the history of my bloodline. The trouble is, Margaret immediately set her sights on her. I do have to say that she has good taste. She walked up to me and said, "Oh my God, Teresa, is this a real diamond? Where did you even get that? It's beautiful." "Yes, Margaret, it's made of diamonds. This is an heirloom piece and has been in my family for generations. I inherited it from my mom." "Oh, I see. Truly a beautiful piece. I wish I could wear this. I think it would look stunning on me. What do you think? It would look good on everyone. This design is one of a kind. You should give it to me. Then it would be a perfect gift for me or Abigail. We will talk about this after the wedding." I laughed at her absurd demand and let it go. The wedding then kept me busy, and I enjoyed myself completely, and so did my husband Rhett. It was truly a memorable day. Margaret never forgot about our conversation or the jewelry. She constantly kept talking about it and insisted that I give it to her or Abigail. Abigail clearly said that I shouldn't give him my heirloom jewelry to anyone. However, Margaret kept insisting that she or Abigail should get it. It would be nice of me to give something to my new family. Her pestering continued for months. Rhett did shut her down, but she would start again later. Every time she came over, Margaret went on and on about how pretty my jewelry was and how she wished she had something like that. In my mind, I was starting to panic. I could tell she was going somewhere with her remarks. Just like I predicted, she made the most ridiculous demand. She said, "You know what, Teresa? I think you should just give me the heirloom jewelry set. It will suit me better, probably even better than you." "I'm sorry, Margaret. I don't think I can give you my heirloom jewelry. It's supposed to go to my children after me. But I am family as well, so I have equal rights to get it. Why don't you just give me the set for my birthday? It would make my day." "Mom, you need to stop pounding Teresa for her jewelry. We already told you it's an heirloom piece. You simply can't expect people to hand over their private property to you, let alone an heirloom piece. Teresa had lots of things she needs to learn to share. Not all of us are born with golden spoons in our mouths." "Margaret, I am a self-made businesswoman. This is the only heirloom jewelry that I have from my family. We are not millionaires. Besides, it has big sentimental value to me. I am your family, Teresa. You should be willing to share with family. That's why the heirlooms exist." She has some bizarre logic about why she deserved the set. However, Iron Rhett adamantly refused to let her use my things. Margaret did stop asking, but continued to talk about how she deserved some good jewelry. Honestly, I was getting sick of her comments. However, I chose to ignore those. It was Rhett who sat me down and told me, "Teresa, I am so sorry Mom has been hounding you for the jewelry. I don't know why she is back to being obsessed with other people's things." "What do you mean, Rhett? Has she done this before?" "Unfortunately, she has done this with her friend, and it didn't go well for Mom. I am ashamed to tell you, but I think you should know." Turns out that Margaret had already faced some consequences for thievery in the past. She decided to steal her own friend's jewelry from her house. Naturally, she called the police and Margaret was arrested. Since it was her first run-in with the police, she was let go with a fine. Her record, however, still held a robbery charge. When I heard about this incident, I was shocked and decided to guard my belongings with extra care. However, I never thought she would mess with her own family, I said. "That was a long time ago, Rhett. I don't know if we should hold that against her. Did she get therapy for her actions?" "Yes, we did force her to attend therapy. Dad was alive back then. He told her to go to therapy or hand him a divorce, so she was forced to attend. Mom stopped growing when Dad passed away. I don't know if she has gone back to her ways. I just want to warn you about it. I don't know what to think, Rhett. I think she wouldn't betray our trust. She won't want to hurt us. We are family after all." Turns out I was wrong. When Abigail got engaged, Margaret promised to gift her some jewelry for her big day. Abigail was super happy and thanked her profusely. I had some doubts in my head. I knew Margaret wasn't rich, and we were helping her out with bills. I had no idea how she would afford to buy such expensive items. Back then, I didn't think anything of it. That was until I saw that my jewelry was missing. Yes, my only heirloom set was nowhere to be found. Wet and I were growing crazy to find it. I cried for days because I couldn't accept the fact that it was gone. I blamed myself for losing it and had been miserable for a while. When all hope was lost, I got a surprise visit from Abigail. Rhett wasn't home, so it was just me and her. She said, "Teresa Rhett has been telling me that you lost your heirloom jewelry. Is it true?" "Yes, Abigail. I can't believe I have been so careless. Lord knows where I have misplaced it. I feel so guilty." "I know where it is, Teresa. I'm sorry I didn't come to you sooner. I had a hard time believing it myself. I didn't think Mom would do it." "What do you mean, Abigail? I'm confused. A week ago, Mom called me and said that she finally got my wedding jewelry. When she showed me the design, I knew it was your set. I asked Mom why she had your jewelry. She said that you gave it to me out of tradition. Mom was holding it for safekeeping. What? That's not true at all. I never permitted her to take the set. How did she even get her hands on it? First, I believed her words. Then, it didn't sit right with me. I knew people just don't hand out their heirlooms like that. So, I called up Brett to do some digging. He told me that the set was missing. I immediately knew Mom took it. Here is the picture she sent me of the set. Oh my God, she came to the house and stole it from me. The day she sent you the picture was the day she visited us. She went upstairs to use the bathroom while we made her lunch. She was stealing my jewelry back then. I'm so sorry, Teresa. I had once mentioned to Mom that I liked the design of the necklace. I didn't think she would steal it from you. Don't apologize, Abigail. She only used you as bait. Margaret had been hounding me to give her my jewelry. She wanted that piece in particular. It was starting to get clear to me why Margaret insisted on inviting herself over that day. She even acted so smug and gave me hints that the set would soon be hers. I just thought she was having greedy thoughts as usual. She'd planned the entire thing before coming. I was enraged and knew that I had to do something. So I left the house with Abigail to take my revenge and get my property back. It took us more detail with Abigail before going to Margaret's house. Confronting Margaret was more important, and I knew I needed to do it that day. It also helped that I had Abigail's full support. So I showed up at Margaret's house and demanded to speak to her. When she let me in, I said, "You should know why I'm here, Margaret. I know you took my jewelry. I want it back right now. Don't try to lie to me." Abigail told me everything. Teresa, there is no use asking for the set. It is not yours anymore. I'm going to give it to my daughter. Now it belongs to Abigail. Are you insane? Did you steal my heirloom jewelry to give it to Abigail? What is wrong with you? It's not yours to give. Who told you it was okay to steal from me? Well, you see, we have a family tradition of passing down wedding jewelry between sisters-in-law. So, Abigail is going to get the necklace that you wore at your wedding. From now on, the set is all hers. You must be out of your mind. There is no such tradition in your family. Why wasn't I offered anything when I got married? You are rich and don't need more things. Besides, you're not a real part of our family, so you don't deserve to be part of this tradition. So, I don't deserve to get anything, but it's okay for you to give my jewelry to your daughter. You need to give back my property, Margaret. This is not a joke. Don't be so selfish, Teresa. As I said, this is our tradition. You don't get to complain. Besides, Abigail deserves to own a beautiful necklace set like this. It suits her better, and she already loves it. There is no way I'm returning it to you. Guys, I was super pissed off at what Margaret told me. This woman and her entitlement just took things to the next level. Never in my life did I imagine her doing something like this. I trusted her, and she repaid me by stealing my heirloom jewelry. She even dared to give her daughter stolen jewelry and take all the credits. All of this was because she didn't want to spend money on a gift. Margaret looked pretty smug and very pleased with herself. However, she had no idea what was coming her way. While I was very angry at her and scared for my jewelry set, I resorted to becoming calm. I looked her dead in the eye and said, "Well, if you don't want to return my jewelry, you can't blame me for what happens next." "What do you mean?" she asked, her tone challenging. "Threatening me?" I'm not scared of you and your empty threats, she retorted. Told me a great story about the amazing tradition in your family, I continued calmly. Let me tell you about my family tradition. Since my family had this heirloom set for a long time, there is a tradition we follow. By tradition, we have this piece completely insured. In case someone steals it, we go straight to the police to file a report for theft. What are you trying to say? Surely, no, you didn't file a report against me, she exclaimed. I am not joking, Margaret. Like you, I take my family tradition very seriously. So I made a police report before coming here. Abigail even went with me and provided all the proof of your theft. The police will be here soon. Actually, no. You are lying. You didn't call the police. This can't be true. I might go to jail this time. They will never let me walk free. Why don't you wait and find out? Let's see if I'm speaking the truth, I replied calmly. At that point, we could see cop cars coming from the corner of the street. As soon as Margaret saw them, she ran out from the back door into the alley behind us. I had no idea where she went. When the police arrived, she was nowhere to be found. I explained the situation to them, and they promised to search the house for my missing jewelry. So I left the house and returned home. I had no idea when Margaret would be back. Back in my house, I told Rhett everything that had happened. He was appalled at his mother's behavior. Even Abigail called and showed him all of the proof. Rhett said, "Oh my gosh, Teresa, I had no idea my mom would do something like this. This is ridiculous. I'm truly ashamed on her behalf. I tried talking to her about returning my jewelry. She hid it somewhere and told me that she wouldn't give it back. You know how sentimental the piece is to me, so I went to the police," I explained. "I understand, Teresa. I would have done the same if I were you. It's just all a shock to me. I need some time to process it," Rhett responded. "Don't worry. I won't help out Mom in any way. She doesn't deserve that," he concluded. Margaret went missing for a while. For days the police tried to find her, but they were out of their wits. We went back to the house with the police and found the necklace in a secret box. Since Rhett had a spare key and permission to enter, we were able to legally enter Margaret's house without her presence. However, I decided not to drop the charges just yet. I wanted her to suffer a little more. After about 2 weeks, Margaret called Rhett from an unknown number. When Rhett picked up, she was sobbing. Rhett put me on speaker, so I heard everything. "Rhett, it's me, your mother. Your wife has sent the cops after me. I'm scared, so I am on the run. Please help me come home," Margaret pleaded. "Mom, you stole and gave away my wife's property. Of course, she would file a police report against you. If you're so scared of the police, why did you steal from Teresa? How could you betray our trust like that?" Rhett responded firmly. "I really wanted Abigail to have something nice. I cannot afford to give her jewelry. Teresa has enough already. She doesn't need so many things. Abigail deserves to have something nice, Mom," Margaret continued. "Don't pull Abigail into this. You wanted the jewelry for yourself. You have been hounding Teresa to give you the set." "Abigail never told you to steal for her," Rhett said, his voice filled with disappointment. "Please, Rhett, I understand I made a mistake, but Teresa is out to get me." "You need to help your mom," Margaret pleaded. "I can't go back home, Mom. I can't help you at this point. The police will do everything in their and Teresa's power to forgive you and take down the case. You need to apologize to her," Rhett replied firmly. "I won't apologize to your witch of a wife. She could have given me the set. Then all this drama wouldn't have happened," Margaret snapped. "That's it, Mom. You will never change. I am done talking to you. Don't call me again," Rhett said before hanging up. He was extremely disgusted with Margaret's behavior and didn't want to talk to her again. Even Abigail was upset that her mom would use her for her greed, so both Rhett and Abigail refused to help her out. I was reluctant to take down the police case because I didn't want her to get away with thieving. Plus, she had hurt me deeply and didn't even apologize. We also changed our door lock and got security cameras installed. I never took down the police reports. Margaret is still on the run, and we have no idea where she is. Since she left her phone at the house, she used payphones to contact us. However, neither Rhett nor Abigail wanted to talk to her. They immediately hung up when they realized Margaret had called. Rhett still feels very betrayed that his mom could do this to us. He's been distraught, and I'm helping him to recover from the mess. Abigail's wedding was wrapped up very recently. Margaret was uninvited through an email, and she didn't try to show up to the wedding. I guess she was afraid of getting caught and sent to jail. We did enjoy ourselves at the wedding, and I even let Abigail wear the heirloom piece. I wanted her to look her best and didn't mind sharing the jewelry set for a day. She did look stunning in her entire bridal attire, and she returned the necklace when the reception was over. We still have no word from Margaret, but we're happy to be away from her presence. I'll dig for more information and find out. Also, don't worry. I made him sign a prenup and only agreed to remove it once he gets a job. Looks like that won't be happening after all. With that being done, I simply finished my part of the revenge. The aftermath of everything was glorious. Mary and Kingston at first kept calling me and telling me to get him a job. They begged me to pity them and help them out. Meanwhile, Riley was on Kingston's case and uncovered the truth herself. I was the one who handed over some information to her father. Her father was also pretty mad and told me that he would see the end of Kingston's lies. After 2 days, the texts I received from my ex-mother-in-law and ex-husband flipped. They kept calling me a witch and a jerk for destroying Kingston's marriage. Riley and her dad confronted him and then filed for divorce. Since Riley still had the prenup in place, none of her assets would go to Kingston. Instead, Kingston would now have to hire a lawyer to work through the divorce. Mary and Kingston did keep harassing me until I threatened to expose them online. That made them stop contacting me. Last I heard, Kingston still comes by our company to see if there is a position open. I also heard from sources that Mary and Kingston are now constantly fighting about money problems. I guess now Mary will finally know what it's like to be stuck with a man-child for the rest of her life.